Hi, my name is Mark. I'm an incubation engineer here at GitLab, and this is the June showcase for the Service Desk Single Engineer Group. So our goal is to provide a complete customer support solution that integrates with the GitLab ecosystem and brings customers, support staff, and developers closer together. And my current focus is the custom email address feature. In our documentation for Service Desk, we refer to Service Desk email as custom email, which is not really correct. Because we are currently implementing real custom email addresses for Service Desk, we need to refine the language we use here. So technically, you can use incoming email for all email ingestion features. Service Desk email was added to allow self-managed customers an additional alias email address for Service Desk email intake. For example, you can use a subdomain and configure a catch-all email address like something@support.example.com to make the local part shorter or even customize the -issue- suffix in the end. But it's actually not a custom email address because it still generates an email address based on the project path and only allows to customize the end part, the suffix. So we ended up with the new name Additional Service Desk Alias Email, which is longer but better describes what it is. The documentation has been updated a few days ago and reflects that change. Let's talk about custom email. We successfully completed email verification, which is part 2 of custom email address for Service Desk. And now we are piecing everything together and add the settings page, view app, and new endpoints to create, update, and delete a custom email address. Right now, the new services we'll use for the controller actions are in review. Let me demonstrate the workflow in the view app. The app is still a work in progress and some texts will probably change. You can find it on the general settings page under the Service Desk section. But let's talk about the idea first. You have an email address that you'd like to use for your Service Desk. In my case, that's fatjuiceofficial@gmail.com. Please make sure your service provider supports sub-addressing and preserves the original from header. For example, you can check for sub-addressing by sending an email to, in my case, let's say fatjuiceofficial +1 or plus anything. The mail should make its way into your inbox. Only then you'll be able to use the current implementation. You'll then set up email forwarding from your email address to the more longish email address configured for your Service Desk project. And then you'll provide SMTP credentials so we can send emails on your behalf. Now we'll enter the email address. I already did it. Confirm that we set up email forwarding and enter the SMTP credentials. After that, we can save the data and trigger the verification process. So what happens? In the background, we'll try to send an email using your SMTP credentials to your email address with a sub-addressing part and a verification token. And then we'll try to process it. If we cannot send emails on your behalf, the process will probably fail immediately. If we encounter an error with the forwarding, from header, or the token, it may take a while. We wait a maximum of 30 minutes until we mark the verification process as failed. But you can always reset everything at any time. The app will poll for changes every 8 seconds, so you can leave the page open and wait for updates. The app goes green if the verification was successful. Now you can toggle the use of the custom email at any time. If you want to change the settings, you have to reset the data and start over again. Let me quickly show you how the error state looks like. I'll enter a definitely wrong password. If the verification failed for some reason, the app will show you the reason and later probably also a description. You cannot edit the data in the database, but you need to reset everything and start over again. If you didn't leave the page, the app still knows the original data you provided, so you don't have to start from scratch. I'm out of office in the second half of July, so these are my goals for the 16.3 release. I'd like to complete the settings page app and backend endpoints for custom email address. and also add viable documentation for custom email address so people that explore the feature know what they're doing. I'd also like to release custom email address in beta in 16.3 for self-managed behind the feature flag, which is turned off by default, and then probably in 16.4 where it defaults to on. What is a beta? A beta is non-production ready, but is unlikely to change drastically before its release in general availability. And I hope to get lots of feedback from our fellow users. That's it from me for today. Take care and see you soon.